The Black Panther Party was founded in 1966 in Oakland, California by Bobby Seale and Huey Newton. The organization was a social movement for the civil rights and upward mobility of the black community. The party was plagued by sabotage by government agencies, including local police, the FBI, and the Oval Office. The party has also been misrepresented by these organizations, causing people to overlook some of the most important contributions to social movements and the community at large. Today, we sit with the party's founding chairman, Bobby Seale, to discuss his prior struggles, his ideas, and his views on the current social and political climate. And now I'm joined by esteemed activist and author, Bobby Seale. Mr. Seale, thank you so much for joining us today. So I want to begin my questions by asking about your interview with the Washington University Libraries. You had noted that 1966 and the years prior were full of police brutality and violence against the black community, ultimately leading to your decision to create the Black Panther Party. The Black Lives Matter movement, unfortunately, was birthed out of a very similar instance. And their political platform, the Movement for Black Lives, has a platform that's eerily similar to your 10-point platform and program. What do you think the similarities in these civil rights movements and their demands say about the state of our society, how far we've come, and how far we still need to go?
Well, it speaks to the present when you use something such as the 10-point platform and program of the Black Panther Party, and boom. When I read it was a black caucus group, I think it was, back east in Oakland, California, 3-4 years ago, that where the Black Lives Matter actually kind of got birthed in the area. But I read their thing, they outlined their program. They had a 12-point program, 12-point domestic, 12-point international. And out of that, I think it was 5 points, which eerily similar, exactly, almost in writing, to my organization, the Black Panther Party. And all it's saying is that the same problem still exists from that time. Now, we have a demographic change in politicians. We have had a lot of demographic change. We had a lot of economic change, really, following the 60s. We had a lot of liberal type programs that were put up all across the country, et cetera, and so on. But now it's evolved in the last 10, 15 years. These right-wingers have, put up all kinds of similar laws giving racist groups and disgruntled white males, I guess you could say, some notion of the right to shoot and kill black folks. When they say, stand your ground, you know what I mean? This is a law called stand your ground. And so some Asian or colored people of color come walking up on your property, and we had examples like that, outright just shoot and kill and murder the person when the person was, this Asian person was just looking, is this the right address for a party? And he gets away with murder. I mean, so yeah, it's similar, it's the same thing, it's discriminatory, it's anti people of color, etc.
I'm glad you bring up this topic. We see that Trump had said in his running and for his campaign in July that he, if elected, would use the Attorney General in order to investigate the Black Lives Matter movement because he said that it incited police killings. With the confirmation of Attorney General Jeff Sessions, what do you think? What actions do you think are going to be taken? And
they're going to use everything in the world to try to repress the protest movement. The same thing
that be similar to what Nixon did, and
well, it may be. It's depending. It's depending on where they go. It depends on where they go.
What sort of?
And it's going to be more protests about them doing it. Mm. You got to watch out for that. Those people are serious about repressing any protest movement, not just Black Lives Movement. You see, that's what they're about.
we know that COINTELPRO was an FBI mission set on destroying the Black Panther Party and heavily monitored you and other party members. Recently, a judge ordered that the NYPD release surveillance material from a Black Lives Matter protest in Grand Central Station in 2013, after the NYPD had originally denied a Freedom of Information Act request for the documents. For activists in this situation, how would you advise that they interact with government agencies that may be surveilling them? And do you think that close eye movements on predominantly nonviolent protests sets the government at ease, or is it creating more harassment and more access to harassment?
More harassment. And that's what it's going to do, and that's what it's doing, especially with an administration like Trump's administration. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. When Ferguson happened, at least President Obama told the governor, you got military police vehicles down there, and these people are nonviolent, and you will not stop these nonviolent people from protesting. They sent people in there, they stopped reporters, etc. And Barack Obama told the governor, you stop this now. And he says, and if you don't, I'm going to sue you. The federal government is going to sue you for violating the civil rights of the people to freely protest. So the governor took their little military shit out. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. Boom. And then he sent Haldeman down there, his United States Attorney General, and they started investigating that whole situation. And once they got through investigating and finding out really what happened and what was going down in that city with blacks getting arrested, blacks here, blacks who were what, 90% or something of the population, or something like that, and even the police force didn't have much people of color, etc. But when they started investigating it, they arrest black people 90 miles an hour just for so-called jaywalking, and saying they're walking in the streets. Well, in some of those areas, there's not even a sidewalk, so you're going to walk on the pavement, rather than walk on the grassy or muddy side of the pavement, you know what I mean? Boom. And then fine them, and then when they can't pay the fine, double the fine, and then arrest them again for not paying the fine, and boom, 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 boom. And they broke that up. And they says, you guys are discriminating against these people out here, and it's targeted at the people of color inside the city of Ferguson, et cetera, boom, 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 boom. And we're going to, so boy, that caused the mayor to quit, the chief of police to quit, 2 city councilmen to quit, and boom, 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 boom. So what's the process? Now, it's a roundabout way, but hopefully they're getting other politicians in. They got other black politicians now on the city council, et cetera, boom, 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 boom. You're trying to change over, you know what I mean? So there's 1,001 cities like that all across the United States of America relative to people of color or whoever, whether it's Hispanic or blacks, etc. It's going on. So we got to change that. We got to we need as many progressive type politicians. I want some of these young folks to get out here and get going. You don't have to have a political party. You can use Green Party or you can use Democratic Party. Use it. It ain't about, well, the Democratic Party is this, the Democratic Party. What's more important is how progressive in your heart, mind, and soul are you? How truly dedicated are you to people's human liberation? Dedicated to getting as much as possible legislation and policies passed that make human sense, you know what I mean? Which goes to human liberation. That's what the whole is about. Excuse my expression, but.
Well, since you're talking about running in government, you did run for mayor of Oakland, hoping to initiate your housing program that the Black Panther Party wanted to put out.
Cooperative housing, excuse me.
You seem to have come out of that focusing more on grassroots organizations.
That was grassroots. What do you mean, come out of that?
I'm saying move from the political structure to something that's a little outside the political structure, something that doesn't need to be elected into office.
No, I'm for programs. If I even get elected, I'm going to support monies to go to programs in the community.
Okay.
That's, boom. That's that. See, when I ran for mayor, you have to understand something. I ran for the International Cultural and Trade Center. I would design that. I was designing that concept. I got me a transit, went out there and measured off this vacant land. Mm-hmm. Which represented 5-6 square miles of land.
Wow.
Okay, unused, etc. My concept is I proposed an international cultural and trade center to use on all that land concept. Now, the International Cultural and Trade Center would have built pavilions, lots of clubs and restaurants and stuff. And the concept was we want to take 20 restaurants that deals with top flight dining and cuisine from our direct American culture. And we're going to also take another 20 concepts for international, from Africa, from Asia, and other peoples and places, for clubs and stuff. There's a cuisine and entertainment, like dinner theaters, you know what I mean, in the area, you see what I mean? Plus we're going to have pavilions for other kind of shows and all this kind of stuff. We have major hotels, and then we have all these shops, all the shops. I want the shops to go as much as possible to other nonprofit entities who exist in the community who already have programs. So if they got a shop, they're a nonprofit entity, etc., they can go and sell tourist materials, what have you, etc. Well, all that money goes back into the nonprofit entity's framework. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, man, we could have 100, 150 shops. Minimally, I wanted to see half of those shops go to nonprofits in the city and in the community. And boom, so it becomes a supplement. It's not, instead of having a grant all the time, you got what you call a nonprofit entity, a business relationship, boom, and the money goes back into your treasury that way. It helps you become more financially self-sufficient as a nonprofit entity with your program in the community. That is what transforms. Mm-hmm. You see me? That's the concept, you see? So I don't have to go around here, socialism this, socialism that, then have to explain to some guy what socialism really is, and then gets in an argument, he don't know what it is, etc., boom, 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 and then boom, boom, boom. You know, and there's a few doctrinaire socialists around. Now, I'm not saying they ain't sincere about wanting liberation, but that's the long way around, brother. You know, I don't have time. Like Bob Avakian and the Revolutionary Communist Party, okay, so what? I said, what have you guys done, man? I said, you guys been here 50 years, and I ain't seen one goddamn program that you guys have put up to organize the people to take over a political seat, etc. I said, I ain't seen you do that. Well, we have the real revolutionary process. Yeah, 50 more years, you still be here. And I said, I hope to put up housing and everything, etc. I said, and you guys missed the point, man. Now, why don't you... It's one of those things. See, Bob, and see, the Black Panther Party politicized Bob, you know, in the first place. You know, that's really what happened. You know, and then he went off over there. Bob come from a middle-class family, you know what I mean? His daddy was Judge Avakian. Judge Avakian in Oakland, California, Alameda County Courthouse, was the most liberal judge in the business. He the one cut Eldridge loose when the Eldridge come back from overseas. He cut Eldridge loose. He told the DAs, no, you guys ain't got your shit together. You talking about cut him, but the man that cut Eldridge loose never even went to jail, man. And you know, so my point is that was Bob Avakian's father. Now, you have to understand who Bob Avakian's father and his mother were. Even before all of that happened, before any exile or nothing stuff, Bob Avakian's mother and father came to a fundraiser. This is a fundraiser for me and my organization, the Black Panther Party, for their breakfast programs, political prisoners, etc. This is a judge who came to that fundraiser. I mean, this guy, talk about liberal, he was liberal. We got somebody on us, we can get, here's some white dudes, we can get something out of them. We like you white dudes, come on over here, bring your over here, and let's be human beings and get this together. See, Bob Avakian, now, why did Eldridge Cleaver get cut loose? The real reason was they came to that fundraiser. I'll never forget it. It was way before I went to jail and everything. So I was shaking hands with Judge Avakian and his wife, etc. Well, Bobby is really doing some good damn programs out here for the people, said old Judge Avakian. You liked us, you know what I mean? Guy, you're wrong. And even Lionel Wilson, he was the black judge there. Man, the cops came in with that. Lionel Wilson threw all that out of court and said, go home, Mr. Seale. told the cops where to get out. Well, you know, when you got friends in the business, in the framework, that's what you need. But Judge Avakian, how we do that? Judge Avakian, okay, then that night at the fundraiser, she says to me and Eldridge, she says, Bobby will not come home. She's talking about her son, Bob Avakian. Bob Avakian run the Revolutionary Communist Party, right? And he won't come home, and he says we're bougie and Socialism and blah, blah, blah. We try to help out all kind of programs. We raised him better than that, and boom, 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 boom. And so he won't come home. She says he should come home and talk to me. Well, this is the mother talking about her son, you know, even though he's running around there 26, 27 years old, trying to be a revolutionary. Boom, boom, boom. So Eldridge, we had a lot of influence over him. Mm-hmm. So Eldridge calls him up and says, hey, Bob, come over. I got to talk to you, man. So we came over to San Francisco. And Eldridge say, come on, take a ride with me. So they're talking, et cetera, boom, boom, boom. They drive all the way across the bridge, back over to the East Bay, back up into the Piedmont community. It's a ritzy community area where the family live, et cetera. And then Bob says, where you going? She says, well, I'm going up the street here. I'm just cruising. And then he goes up and say, so he gets in front of Judge Avakian's house and he stops. He says, what are you stopping for? He says, don't worry, boom, boom, boom. Anyway, he got out. Then he got a hold of Bob so he couldn't run and took him up these big stairs and got him up there, headlocked him and he rang the door. And Bob Avakian's mother and father came to the door and said, here he is, Mrs. Avakian. Here's Bob. Hey, man, get on in there and talk to your mom and dad, et cetera. Boom, 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 boom. Now, so years come later, who does Eldridge wind up in front of when he comes out of exile in court? Judge Avakian. Eldridge, what are you doing? He says, I come back, Your Honor. But these guys ain't got no stuff. They were supposed to appeal my thing, etc. And they couldn't get this. The judge said, I'll give you 2 weeks, told the prosecutors give you 2 weeks to get this stuff. And they didn't get together. He said, he let Eldridge out of jail. They never did get shit together.
That's good.
And I mean, but you find people like that.
Right.
And it's like, the Underground Railroad years ago, it was the white folks who run the posts of the Underground Railroad, right? They put their lives on the line, you know what I mean? Boom, 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 boom. Because if they got caught, these guys would kill them. You know, these slave owners would kill them, whatever. My point is, who's got some Underground Railroad spirit manifested in the general white community where the oppression is going on? So show your Underground Railroad spirit and show it to me so I can shake your hand and so you can help us out with this goddamn struggle. You guys are the majority of this shit anyway, so let's change this shit for the betterment of humanity as a whole, you know. Anyway, go ahead.
So you talked a little bit about the free food, the free clothing, and the breakfast programs. And they were some of the most impactful community programming what do you think the next steps are for organizations to follow in that model? And how do you think the movement needs to push those programs if Trump decreases funding or completely defunks initiatives like the DREAM Act or My Brother's Keeper or anything like that?
Well, we just got to fight for more money, more funds, and more grants. That's what we have to do, you know what I mean? And still push these goddamn programs. And those programs, again, remember, is about organizing the people politically and electorally, unifying them, and not only voting for new politicians, but standing up for justice and standing, protesting. That the struggle goes on, and boom.
Wow. So my last question is, you said in a PBS interview that the Black Panther Party slogan is power to all people.
All power to the people.
All power to the people.
Power to the people, all power to the people, people's empowerment, etc. All those interlocking, interrelated phrasings. Mm-hmm.
So how do you, and you also said in that same interview that power should be given not just to the 1% that controls 90% of the wealth. How would you tell people to start taking back that power?
We got to control the political electoral frameworks. We got to have progressive people who are going to make and put together affordable health programs. Mm-hmm. Them 89 congressmen in the United States House of Representatives, there are 89 of them. They vote progressively. On a low scale, they vote progressively all the way up to a high scale. There's a high scale, so you got some, that's all they do is progressive. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But that's what's there now. We need 3 times that many in the House of Representatives. Mm-hmm. So we can have the majority of the seats. Mm-hmm. And if we got the majority of the seats, boom, 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 and come with the average richest corporate money rich say, no, we're going to tax your ass, and your ass going to pay some fair share, and we're going to pay for this school tuition, and we're going to pay for this, and we're going to do this. Bernie Sanders' program.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders' program. See, and I'm so glad he said democratic socialism. You see what I mean? Because very democratic, that means people involvement, you see. I look at I looked at greater participatory democracy. It is the people who can vote, put a referendum on the ballot, who can vote, you know what I mean, to deal with an impeachment, to vote. See, that's important. People got to have that power to do that, etc. And you make legislation to really allow them to do it, so they can get in mother ass about all the bull. You know what I mean? You got to be able to get in the mother on a avaricious corporate money rich racist ass. You got to be able to get in on them, and you need legislation to get that done. And boom, all they're gonna do is repress. And you see old dumb Trump. Well, I can't stand them press. They're the most ugliest, rotten press people there. I said, look at this motherfucker up here talking shit.
Today he did talk a lot about fake news.
I know. Oh, that's fake news. No shit. You motherfuckers send out fake news. Excuse me. Oh, they don't get me to cussing on these guys.
Thanks to Bobby Seale for being with us today. I'm Loris Jones-Randolph for The New Progressive, empowered by Millennials for Revolution. For more news and videos, follow us on Facebook and Twitter.